show. This is open mic radio.
All right. That's right. It is Open Mic Radio. It is KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. And we're going to get it going with one from our featured artist this afternoon. Check it out. We're broadcasting from Rocheport, Missouri this afternoon. Glad to be here. And this is the Meredith Shaw. Well, actually, Meredith Shaw and some of the Borrowed Band.
With that Rocheport, white claws and guitars and Sunday afternoon, sunlight and songwriting, banging out a tune, porch picking, joy passing, going nowhere soon with white claws and guitars and sunny Sunday songwriting afternoons. I love 'em too. Well, thank you very much for having us, Mike.
All right. Woo!
We are excited to be in downtown Rocheport for this beautiful dedication of this wonderful mural. Thanks for having us.
I love it, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's say welcome to the show. It is Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. We're live from the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society Museum. Lovely afternoon here, and I'm real happy to be with you. We do this every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Live music and interviews with many of Missouri's finest musicians and bands. Today, no different. I'm thrilled to have Meredith and a couple of the guys here with her. Anyway, once again, we're broadcasting from Rocheport. We're helping to celebrate the 200th birthday of our lovely little town here, the Bicentennial of Rocheport. So we're dedicating it with a live show this afternoon. We've got great music. We've got a wonderful mural that was commissioned I'm not sure who actually is behind the actual idea, but we'll have Ina Linville, who's the president or director of the Friends of Rocheport Society here. We've got the artist present who did this wonderful mural, a number of other folks that are involved in different ways, shapes, and forms here in Rocheport, but we're thrilled to be able to do it. Thanks y'all for coming out this afternoon, and hopefully it's not too hot out there for you. You got a little bit of shade. A breeze would be nice, but hey, you know. All right, quickly, we were away last week. We had a hell of a show on the 6th of September. Great rock and roll, a band from Columbia called Conductor. I've been friends with Nate, who runs PDM for many, many years, and he's got a lot of different projects, but this is a real cool one with a young lady named Katie who sings out front. She's got this great Russian accent. Anyway, Conductor was awesome on the 6th of September. Great rock and roll from Columbia. We also previewed some of the great jazz stuff from artists who performed at the Mo Jazz Music Festival that was later that weekend on the 7th, actually. Anyhow, if you missed it, get the podcast, show, all that stuff. It's cool, right? A couple more things real quick, and then we will get to the show and to the music. Thank you, and a shout out to Mr. Peter Rabbit, grooving on the one mic from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock, the latest in the legends in hip-hop and R&B. Morgan and a Motherland Jam before that. Fantastic music from across the continent of Africa. If you're not familiar, Morgan is actually a native of Zimbabwe, and he's been doing radio on KOPN for over 20 years, and I've been thrilled to be friends with him for many of those years. And anyway, from noon until 2, he plays incredible music from across the continent of Africa. Many of the artists that he presents are actual friends and people who he's familiar with. And anyway, just great stuff from noon to 2. We do it from 6 o'clock. No, we do it from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Open mic radio. 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Rosh Shumba and a reggae party. Outstanding roots rock reggae music from right here in the middle of Missouri. 8 o'clock to 11, Blues on Broadway. Chris does a great job of bringing incredible blues music to you. So anyway, keep your eyes on the dial there, okay? KOPN 89.5 FM. Awesome stuff around the clock. And I call it the Imagination Station. Actually, it's not mine. It's been called that for many, many years, but it is your imagination station. KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. We are on the web at kopn.org, and I want to say a quick shout out to my partner in crime back there at the controls at the station, the wonderful Kevin Walsh, who's taking care of things back at the station, making it possible for us to be able to broadcast from out here. So anyway, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, we've got Meredith Shaw. We've got a bunch of friendly folks from Rocheport here. Join us. We're here for another hour and a half, almost 2 hours. We're at 101 Montauk Street in downtown Rocheport. It's just a lovely afternoon down here. It's a nice little lawn where you can put a chair or a blanket out and listen to some great music and find out a little bit about the history of this wonderful little town. All right? Okay, we'll be back with Ina and artists and lots of other stuff in just a few minutes, but let's have another song here, if they would. Meredith, you want to do one for us?
Absolutely.
All right, let's have another one from Meredith and the Borrowed Band.
Turkey shots. One for the man she lost, one for the man she's got. She powers through, takes it day by day, and in her mind she still plans to get away. But it's been 30 years and she's still here, whiskey drinking women. Jill still sips Jack on the rocks. She laughs, says she went to the school of hard knocks. New divorce, old house on the hill. Works extra hours thanks to her special pills. She's been doing great, but her period's late. Whiskey drinking women. And whiskey drinking women, they're not trying to drown their sorrows. Whiskey drinking women know that things could be much stokes that fire. Molly drinks her Crown and Coke. Just joined the country club so no one knows she's broke. Lost her job, told no one. Bought a new car for her son. Bankrupt within a year. Shows no fear. Whiskey drinking women. Whiskey drinking women, they're not trying to drown their sorrows. Whiskey drinking women know that things could be much worse tomorrow. Still they rise up and keep aiming higher. So they pour that heat in and it stokes that fire. Me, I shoot this fireball. Burns a big hole when the world makes me feel small. Daddy's gone, Mama can't remember why. It's been 10 years now, it's called a long goodbye. But it could get worse. Better drink this first. Whiskey drinking women. Whiskey drinking women, they're not trying to drown their sorrows. Whiskey drinking women know that things could be much worse tomorrow. Still they rise up and keep aiming higher. So they pour that heat in and it stokes that fire. For whiskey drinking women, whiskey drinking women, whiskey drinking women. Set 'em up, shoot 'em down. Bartender, pour another round.
Yeah! I love it. All right, back in just a little bit here with Meredith, Shaw, and the guys, all right? Let's see, what do I need to do here? That, and this. Okay. It's Open Mic Radio. We're broadcasting live this afternoon from Rocheport, Missouri. Thrilled to be here. I've got Ina Linville, the president of the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society, and let's just kind of move along. We got a full docket today, so we better just get it rolling, huh?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Mike Hagan and Meredith Shaw for letting us sort of horn into their show as far as that goes. So
We're thrilled to do it.
So let's say thank you.
We're honestly, we're really pleased to be able to do it. Thank you for...
The other thing, the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society is a nonprofit, and so is KOPN. So there is a little tip jar over there if you want to help KOPN and their community radio. So
yeah, if you don't know, really quickly, KOPN's been broadcasting for over 53 years. One of the oldest community radio stations in the country. Back in 1973, when KOPN began this crazy adventure, it was one of hundreds of community radio stations. They were all over the place. There's under 10 of them left. So we're really proud of it and trying to keep it going, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, we just want to point that out. The other thing is so Mike introduced me as the president of Friends of Rocheport Historical Society, or the director. I'm not the director. There's a good team that's there, and I know this is radio, but we do have a bit of a crowd here, so I want to introduce the board. So we have Phyllis Barks. Where are you, Phyllis? Oh, she's in the back. Yay, Phyllis. We have Gene Bauman, and Gene will be up here. He's our historian, so the stories that you're going to hear, we're going to celebrating the music, we're going to celebrating the art with the mural, and then stories. And so Gene is our historian, Gene Bauman. We have Steve Baumgartner. So if you want refreshments, see Steve.
Yeah, that's the important position over there.
Tim Carson. So Tim is also doubling as member of Rotary. So we're talking Lois Connor. There's Lois. Okay. And then Marcia Voss. So if you want to buy any of the posters, see Marcia as far as that goes. So let's go ahead and if this is going to be a celebration of the mural, so if you're expecting a formal dedication, just stick around because we've got lots of things to talk about. So let's talk about the artist.
I'd love it, yeah.
Come on up, Joe.
His name is Joe Schlottig. All right, and Ina, feel free to stay up here. You probably have, all your questions have probably already been answered, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys have had a lot of talk and things before this was done and through the course of you doing it, right, Joe?
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so Joe Schlottig, he is a young man who's the artist who so we're on radio, so we're looking at a mural that was completed on the side of the museum, the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society Museum, and it's an old building. How old is the building, Ina?
It's built the brick part 1830s.
All right, so nearly 200 years old, and somebody commissioned Joe to do this painting. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about your background and how'd you get involved and get this gig?
Okay, so I've been a Columbia resident for most of all of my life here, and I happen to work with people that live in Rocheport and everything, but also worked for the city of Columbia. And they told me about a project that was going on, the dedication for the 200 years that Rocheport has been around, the Bicentennial celebration.
Right.
And they were like, hey, why don't you pitch a design to us? You know, we're accepting designs. And I did that. And
yours was the one they chose? That
is correct.
What's the organization that you work with in Columbia? Might as well shout them out, right?
I actually work for the city of Columbia.
Oh, well,
and
okay.
On the side, too.
They're always getting shouted out.
Yes, they are. And I also work for a nonprofit organization, Jabberwocky Studios.
Jabberwocky, right.
A lot of people probably know about them.
Cool.
Then, sorry.
All right, so more. Yeah, how'd you come up with the concept and maybe, you know, again, we're on radio so people can't see it, so maybe we could describe a little bit about what you've done here.
Okay, so first of all, you know, obviously a celebration of the 200 years that Rocheport has been since it was founded. So obviously there's a lot of things that have happened in Rocheport's history. So first of all, I wanted to represent, whenever I asked people like in Rocheport too, like what they wanted and everything, but if there wasn't a river here, there would not necessarily be any Rocheport. So that was like a first front and center type thing. Had to be included in there was a river. And basically, so I had to put that in there. Then I also wanted to show in there, so from the beginnings, so I wanted to have some representation of the Osage nation there. That there was also several other tribes in this area too. But I wanted to have them definitely represented in there. And it was also partially founded by Lewis and Clark, the expeditioners everybody knows, grew up with, right?
Right.
And then I also wanted to show the representation of the different, like the changes of everything over the 200 years. So first it was founded, like the trade and imports, exports was with the river. So I wanted to make sure they had the steamboats that were represented during that time. And then whenever the railroad came through, I wanted to make sure that they had representation of the railroad in there. But also I wanted to put in there the different imports and exports. Rocheport was very well known for their they had tobacco and hemp was their biggest industry.
Interesting.
Whenever they first started. So I had to have some representation in there of that. And then of course too, to like kind of make it a little bit more personal too to Rocheport, they also had a lovely couple that lived here, Daisy and Isidore, and they used to stay kind of at the top of the hill whenever people would come into Rocheport, and they were noted for, they would always wave at everybody, whether they were coming in or leaving, and they would be smiling and wave at everybody that came in. And so I wanted to make sure to include them in there as well.
There's that breeze we were looking for, by the way.
Yes.
Hey, all right, I have a question about the two barrels.
Yep.
I think Missouri is known for barrel wood, in at least somewhere around here. I think there's a very special oak. Is that part of the thing or no?
That is, I mean, yes, that is, and I'm glad that you brought that up too. I did not intentionally put that in there, but yes, they are. I believe white oak, and from what I have been told, that it's also sought after around the world. I think there's actually a big market. I think in Japan they actively ship from Missouri. They order from Missouri for that white oak.
Yeah, interesting. And there are two bottles on top of one of the barrels. Anything about those?
Of course. So we had the Les Bourgeois vineyards that were introduced very next door, basically part of Rocheport there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have representation of them too, even though it was like more recent than Lewis and Clark and everything too, but still part of the history.
And the tunnel, of course, that so many of us are familiar with. Yeah, of course, that goes along with the train.
Oh, of course.
Wow, very cool. How long have you been doing this type of art? Are you a muralist in general, or is this the first one you've done?
No, I have done quite a few over the years. I think my first one I did was for a family friend. It was kind of to get a start, you know. And it was in the bedroom. They wanted a picture of the inside of the Busch Stadium before it was renovated. Before
in their bedroom, right?
Right. So it was a kid's bedroom, and he was a baseball player.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay.
Yeah, they wanted the inside of the Busch Stadium there, and so I got kind of like my chops developed a little bit with that. And every painting, I learned something new. You know, I take something away from it every time I do one.
Very cool. All right. Well, got anything else you'd like to add?
I just appreciate the opportunity that Rocheport gave me for this. It was very inspiring and also informative, because as an artist you have to research
learn about your subject,
everything.
right?
Yes, and so I've learned so much about Rocheport in this. Okay, and then yes, there was a rattlesnake that was implemented in here, like a lot of people have noticed. That was just because Rocheport did also have a history with, like, they had a problem with rattlesnakes towards the very beginning. They were all over, and I believe also too, Gene might touch on that subject later too as well. There was like a little fun story too that I heard recently. I was not there to witness it, but I believe it. But whenever they demoed that bridge recently, and they blew that up with the explosives,
right?
That supposedly the vibrations and the shockwave from that ended up like all the hills around the surrounding area all started moving.
Never know.
And I was like, snakes all over the place.
All right. Well, Joe, fantastic. Thank you very much for being a part of it, and your work will be represented here for a long, long time. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks. Joe Schlottick, if you'd like to give out Jabberwocky's information or something like that, or if you like, maybe you've got an Instagram, or I don't know, maybe you'd like to share your art with other people, anything that you'd like to share.
Yep. I have an Instagram, Breaker Joe Art. You can find me there. You can also, if you know my name there as well, Joe Schlottick, you can look me up that way. Jabberwocky Studios is a nonprofit organization that I've been working for the past 10 years, ever since they founded. Yep, and basically reach out to the community with the arts and dance and theater, whole bunch of things that we do there. So check us out online. Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, should we have Gene tell us a story? Is that what are you ready for that, Ina? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about Gene.
Yeah, so Gene's a past president of the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society, and we were founded in 1967, and in 1972 we got the museum, and so I think it opened in 1976. But Gene has been our historian, and so we all are interested in history, but he really believes in it and studies it and writes about it. He's a great writer. So I asked him to put together some quick stories to talk about Rocheport and the history.
All right, let's get a story from Gene.
Okay. I've been in the history longer than a good many of them, so that's why I like it so much, I think. But I have 3 or 4 stories that I'm going to try to tell throughout the evening. The first one you've heard a little bit about already. Isidore and Daisy Broadus. They're without any doubt my favorite couple in Rocheport history, probably because I encountered them personally, along with everyone else who visited Rocheport 50 years ago. Here is their story from the Springfield, Missouri Sunday newspaper of January 23rd, 1977. Isidore Broadus and his wife Daisy, a well-known elderly couple in this small Missouri River community, lived in a one-room ramshackle home without plumbing or electricity for their entire 55 years of marriage. A fire, Friday night, raced through the 15-square-foot home and killed Broadus, 76, and his wife, 82. Despite their frugal lifestyle, officials found $11,000 in lunchboxes and bottles in the burned-out house that had been insulated with cardboard and newspapers. Boone County Sheriff Charlie Foster said the blaze apparently started with oil was added to a stove used for heating. The couple, who'd been living on Social Security, had staunchly resisted suggestions from neighbors that they move from the house, which stood on a steep rise above Missouri 240, which is the main street into town here. Except in cold weather, the couple sat near the edge of the highway, waving to passing motorists. Mrs. Broadus, a tiny woman who often smoked a corncob pipe, was concerned about the speed of passing cars and frequently whispered a prayer, "I hope they get there safe." Neighbors said the Broaduses were fixtures in the community. This is a quote, "I can tell you the town is completely broken up," said Audrey Roberts, who lived next door. "We thought the world of the old couple." Ms. Roberts said she heard a series of small explosions about 7 p.m. Friday when firemen arrived from the Rocheport station a few blocks away. The house was engulfed by flames. It took firemen only 10 minutes to bring the blaze under control. Bill Westoff, chief of the Boone County Fire Protection Agency, said the Broadus' home was a fire hazard. He said the elderly couple used kerosene lamps for light and stored oil in the home. The Friends of Rocheport has a Hall of Fame, and we inducted Daisy and Isidore into it. And here's the inscription we used. Rocheport Hall of Fame is proud to induct into membership Isidore and Daisy Broadus for their loving welcome to all who visited Rocheport during their time on the hillside near the entrance to town. Isidore was born in Rocheport in 1900 and lived his entire life in the house where he died. His wife Daisy was born in McBain in 1890. The couple met while she was visiting in Rocheport, and they became devoted members of the community. In retirement, they became the popular welcoming team until their tragic death in the house fire in January 77. They rest today in a common grave a short distance from their home and are well remembered by all who visited the community and were waved a greeting as they came through. And I proudly was one of those people. But this induction was made in June 13th, 2021.
Thank you, Gene. I just want to add that we have family of Isidore Broadus. We have, Isidore was the great-great uncle of, would you like to be recognized?
All right. Hi.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, we'll get another story or two from Gene before the end of the program here, but let's take a little music break, and we'll have another one here from Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. We're streaming on the web at kopn.org. Thrilled to be out here on this lovely Saturday afternoon down here in lovely Rocheport, Missouri, celebrating the 200th birthday, the Bicentennial of Rocheport. Bunch of cool people down here enjoying themselves, and join us. We're at 101 Montauk Street, just behind the general store, if you're familiar with Rocheport. But it's easy to find. Not a real big place down here, but a real good one. And anyway, let's get another piece of music if you guys are ready. I'm probably going to have to do something on the mixer, so I'll just do it. All right, so Meredith, Shaw, and the borrowed band, and you guys are good to go.
Talking to myself most of the time, digging back through the details, seed of the crime, putting together the pieces to see what went wrong. Shattered hearts, parts to a bad country song. The lies, oh the lies, sparkle like stars in the skies. Time, oh the time, wasted like yesterday's wine, done. It's just done. Nothing was true, man, were you even here? I keep looking back, the memories too close in the mirror, pacing the floor like days before, asking why. Put down the phone, girl, leave him alone, let him fly. The lies, oh the lies, sparkle like stars in the sky. And time, oh the time, wasted like yesterday's wine. What could he do and what could he say? So why do I keep coming back to this place? Done. It's just done. Sitting here talking to myself most of the time.
That's too good. Keep it going. Let's have another one.
Oh, jeez. How about any given day? Any given day? So in songwriting, I write a lot of stuff. So these have all been my originals so far. That's pretty much everything we're playing today. A lot of stuff comes from my life, but also things come from just conversations. So if you're a friend of mine, we might be having a conversation. I'll be like, "Ooh, that's a good line. I'm going to put that in a song." This is one of those things where I was just texting with my friend Audra Sergel, who's also a musician in town. and we were texting back and forth. I live at Midway, and I was having one of those days where I was like, man, you know how many times I have been driving west on 70, and those of you who live in Rocheport, you've probably had this feeling too, where you're like, if I miss that exit and I just drive for 14 more hours, I'd be in Denver. And I'm like, and she's like, boy, I'm just 2 paychecks and, 3 drinks and 2 paychecks, right? And I'm like, exactly. So this one's called Any Given Day. She starts drinking, she starts thinking, bad days and haze, some days she prays for some way out. Walls are caving, she starts craving sunny knees and teas and trees obliques on some rural route. Life's a heavy load and heaven's open road. And she's 3 drinks and 2 paychecks and 1 heartbreak away on any given day from hitting the highway. Maybe south to Alabama, stop and see her grandma, bring back her smile. Or the beaches up in Maine, see the Atlantic once again. Lord, it's been a while. Reba's on the radio, telling her to go. And she's 3 drinks and 2 paychecks and 1 heartbreak away on any given day from hitting the highway. With sunshine on her face, find a happy place. Pack a tent, head out west. Colorado's always best for her soul. Drive on out to Utah, prettiest thing she ever saw, those red rocks roll. Leave the world behind, it's always on her mind. And she's 3 drinks and 2 paychecks and 1 heartbreak away on any given day from hitting the highway. What did Tennessee? She saw what Arkansas, she saw what Arkansas. What did Mississippi boys? What did Mississippi boys? She sipped a Minnesota, she sipped a Minnesota. Why did California? Why did California? She phoned to say how are ya? She phoned to say how are ya? Well, how did Florida die, boys? Well, how did Florida die, boys? She died in misery. She died in misery.
Yeah, sir. Fantastic. Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band. If you want to find them online, Meredith, how do people find you?
You find us at Meredith Shaw Music on Instagram and Facebook. That's the best way to find us. And I also have some songs that are on like your streaming services, such as Spotify and Apple Music.
All right, very good. All right, thanks. Take a break. We'll have more music in just a minute, all right? All right, Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia, broadcasting here from Rocheport, Friends of Rocheport Historical Society to be exact. My friend Ina Linville is here with me. And what do we have next, Ina?
Okay.
Oh, do I have your microphone on? Ha, see that? You got to do it all here. Hold on.
Okay, no, I did want to mention that the Missouri Arts Council granted us the money so that, or a grant fund so that we could hire Joe to do the mural. So I want to thank them. I don't think there's anybody here representing the Arts Council, is there?
Hey, all right, well.
Okay. The other thing that I want to recognize is we had to basically take care of the exterior of the building before we could even put the mural on it. And so the local Boone Electric Trust granted us the dollars, because this first part of the building is the 1830s vintage, and it's brick, and it was a really soft brick. So we had to put the technical term is German schmear, but it's like a skim coat. And so
That's on your bagel, isn't it?
yeah. So anyway, they granted us to do that. And we had Bev Stillman with the Boone Electric Trust. And would you come up? I'd like to present this framed mural, copy of it, to you in our appreciation of the Boone Electric Trust to help us do the exterior of the building.
Wow.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
So
Wonderful.
maybe, I know there's a community building there that maybe they could hang that there. Okay.
They will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate it because it was a significant amount of work that needed to be done, and we appreciate all the support there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
So representing the city, so we have a small community. So we have the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society, we have the city, we have the Rotary, we have the... Stay on it, so don't turn around. Okay, stay on the microphone. Okay. So anyway, representing the city of Rocheport, I have Conrad Yates, and he's going to come up and say a few words about Rocheport.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Anna. Conrad Yates.
Okay, afternoon all. Rocheport is 200 years old. I'm a relative newcomer here. I've lived here 35 years, and I'm occasionally reminded that I'm still a newcomer. But I intend to live here until I'm no longer. And I'll be in good company. This town was started in 1825, and as it was pointed out, it was a river town, and that's the reason it was here. In the 1840s, Rocheport had more annual riverboat stops than any other town in Missouri located between St. Charles and St. Joe. So that includes Kansas City, which at that time wasn't really very much. But that quickly changed as Kansas City grew quickly. But that's how Rocheport was in the day. It was the biggest riverboat stop between those two places. The Civil War was not kind to Rocheport. There was a lot of bad feeling between people and militaries and so on. The militaries in Missouri were largely guerrilla warfare outfits who were probably an embarrassment to both North and the South because they were kind of pathologic killers who did not adhere to lawful much of anything. So many things happened in Rocheport that were probably like what happened all over the country at that time. After the war, Rocheport changed. Riverboats were on their way out after the war. They were still running on the Missouri. But in 1892, behind you, a railroad appeared and the tunnel. There's lots of stories about that, but it was a very busy railroad. I'm told that during World War II, that shipping war goods from the West Coast to the East Coast caused a freight train to go through here every 5 minutes. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but there were a lot of freight trains transporting war goods from the West Coast to the East Coast. The railroad then fell on hard times here. Well, it got less traffic and stopped in the 80s. I think the last trip was in the 80s. And toward the end of the 80s, we had the good fortune to have it turn into a state park. And that was not without discussion in the state of Missouri. There was a lot of opposition to it, and it was a taking. It was an eminent domain issue. The state parks took it by eminent domain, and the farmers didn't like it, and the rural representatives didn't like it at all. So it went to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, where they declared the state could do that, and so the state did. Now, that didn't end well because the state legislature declined the opportunity to fund the Katy Trail. So it was going to be a moot issue. Even though the state had it, they had taken it, they weren't going to have any money to develop the Katy Trail. About that time, Pat and Ted Jones attended one of their little stores, Edward D. Jones brokerages, small town brokerage firm in Iowa. And the story I got from Pat was that they were in that store. It was very boring. It was a small town, you know. Things are boring sometimes in small towns, especially in stock brokerages. So they were sitting there, and there was across the street, there was a place where people were walking and riding their bikes. And they inquired of the proprietor of the Edward D. Jones store. And he told them what it was, Rails to Trails Project. And he said, let me go home and get my bikes out of my garage and come back. So he did. Ted and Pat rode off. They were, you know, they were my age probably at the time, which is not young. And they rode off on this nearly flat, easy trip. They went out a couple miles and came back. And they loved it. And they came back to Missouri, and they found all hell had broken loose, and things were, you know, not going well. So the Joneses went to Jeff City basically and paid for the trail, and which is a great blessing. The first part of the trail was opened here in Rocheport, and all the rest of it was opened subsequently. 93, the flood cleaned the clock on the trail. All the trail in proximity to the river was damaged, some of it severely. Bridges were washed out. Everything was messed up. And the Joneses, Pat Jones, went to Jeff City because Ted had passed by then. And the story I get is she wrote another check. So that's pretty good support from the Joneses. Now, there are somewhere close to 250 people that live in Rocheport. The population has been larger in the past by quite a bit, but that's a long time ago. We feel lucky to live here. This is a wonderful place to live. I've lived a bunch of places. This is where I prefer to live, and I will hold it up to any other option. Okay, we run everything by volunteers, which sounds kind of interesting, but it's a good idea because people that live here have ownership of the town. And if we need something done that requires people, we have people. We just put out the word and we get volunteers. It's just how it works here. People are happy to volunteer, generally speaking. We try not to lean on them too hard, but people know things have to be done and they help. People that live outside the community enjoy Rocheport. By outside the community, I mean in the Rocheport address, which is 100 square miles of area around here. It's a big area, and Rocheport is much smaller than that, 4 blocks wide, 9 blocks long. So we really enjoy the people that live near Rocheport. The people of Columbia enjoy Rocheport. You know, we've given people in the area some feeling of ownership. People like to visit, and they enjoy coming here for food, good shopping, the trail, and small town ambiance. We all know our neighbors. We share things like neighbors of small towns do. You know, small town life in the USA is dying. And in my lifetime, it's gone from prosperous small towns everywhere to hardly any of that. And this is one of the few very prosperous and well-kept small towns left, not only in Missouri, but probably pretty close to anywhere. Other small towns that are prospering are usually being incorporated into large towns. They're right on the edge of large towns, and that's what happens there. But anyway, thank you for coming, and we hope you find this fun.
Thank you, Conrad. Appreciate it.
All right, let's roll on along here, Ina.
Okay, thank you, Conrad. So also want to recognize, is Janet Thompson still here? So anyway, she's our county commissioner, so I want to appreciate her coming out. The other person that I want to recognize, again, is we have the city, and we heard from Conrad, thank you, and I learned a lot about Rocheport in your speech. We also have Rotary, and I'd like Tim Carson to come up and tell us. So a lot of times there's a symbiotic relationship between all the organizations, and so he's going to tell us about a couple bicentennial projects that Rotary's leading.
All right, so let's hear from Tim for a minute here, and then we are going to have another story from Gene, and then we're going to give you all a little musical treat, and we'll play a good chunk of music from Meredith and the band. And then we've got a few other things to wrap up toward the end of the program. But we're here till 6 o'clock, and I think maybe festivities will be going on after we're done broadcasting. At any rate, you're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. Thrilled to be here in Rocheport this afternoon for a live remote and a dedication of a wonderful mural and a celebration of the 200th birthday of lovely Rocheport. So, Tim, thank you.
Great. Well, Rotary has jumped on, the Rotary Club has jumped on the Bicentennial fever. And like Ina said, we've joined with Friends of Rocheport and the city and the state of Missouri through the state parks to create the new Bicentennial Park. So if you go down to the depot where our where our city office is, right beside it, off the trail, is the now developing Bicentennial Park. In the center of the park is a granite peace pole. Peace poles are scattered across the United States and the world. They are inscribed with the same inscription, and that is, "May peace prevail on earth." And that is in the 4 languages that are indigenous to the community where the peace pole is. And so for us, it's the Osage tongue, the German tongue, the French tongue, and the English tongue, all of those groups that were here or came up the rivers. And so if you go down there, you can take that in. The Friends of Rocheport have partnered with Rotary and the city and Boone Electric Community Trust, and we are now hardscaping that. It will be landscaped, it will be benches, people can come right off the trail. One more thing to celebrate the Bicentennial, along with the mural and a host of other projects, including the lighting of downtown Rocheport for the holiday season with lighting that will run from Thanksgiving to New Year's, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. How about that? And that's it.
Fantastic. Can I get Gene back up here?
Come on up, Gene.
Come on up, Gene.
So Joe was a little kind of nervous about talking, so he didn't introduce his mother, Hazel. So let's recognize your mother, Joe.
Yeah. All right.
And so we're going to have another story about Rocheport from Gene.
I look forward to these, Gene. All right, here we go.
I've got to have notes, unlike these professional speakers. But okay. This one is Hugo Dietrich, the fastest straight-edge razor man in the world. He was a native of Rocheport. He won a medal and his title at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. At that time, he shaved 60 men in less than an hour. Hugo was born in Rocheport of German parents. The home where he was raised, when this was written in 1992, the home still existed on Columbia Street, although it was in bad shape. After he became a barber, he soon established a reputation for his fast work. His shop was located right in this area here, by the trail, or then the tracks. And there's a story, somewhat unsubstantiated, I shouldn't use that, that workmen on freight trains could drop off as the engine passed, slowing down for the tunnel. They'd get a shave and catch the caboose as the train continued on. That's what they say. Well, as an adult, Hugo was a small man, sometimes standing on a box to do his work. He spoke in a thick German accent, and as the story goes, it was the local wits quite often imitated his speech. During World War I, he was not very highly regarded because of his German ancestry. However, with his usual aplomb, he soon changed that attitude. He purchased $10,000 worth of war bonds, thus becoming a local hero. In later years, Dietrich moved from the hotel near the railroad, established a shop further uptown. He sold a number of other items in his shop, but also continued barbering. Carl Rapp, also reared in Rocheport, remembered as a child having his hair cut by Hugo. Carl remembered that If you needed anything unusual, you could go to his shop. If he didn't have it, he would write it down and say, "I'll get it for you." A final interesting sidelight on Hugo, not a very good one, but one. An article in the Columbia Missourian in 1922 states that he stood trial for selling a patent medicine which contained alcohol. And Missouri was a dry state at that time. Well, Hugo died in his mid-20s and is buried in the Columbia Cemetery. Here's another article, 1916, from the University Missourian newspaper, titled "Hugo, He Cuts His Own Hair. Rocheport's only barber doesn't care to chance Columbia." Hugo Dietrich of Rocheport cuts his own hair, according to the St. Louis Republic. He has the only barber shop in Rocheport, and he's the only barber in the only barber shop. The nearest barber chair is in Columbia, 14 miles away. But Hugo doesn't have time to go to Columbia. Besides, rumor has it, Hugo bases his opinion on some of the haircuts worn by the university students, doesn't think much of the skill of Columbia barbers. He doesn't want his hair long on the top of his skull while his head is shaved in the rear. Yet that's what the students demand, he says. Inverted soup bowls have long been out of fashion for haircuts in Rocheport, so Hugo has invented a much better method. He stands between two mirrors and clips and snips away until his head is properly shorn. The expression that best explains Hugo's appeal to the barbers and all the other people in the area is a favorite in the town. Hugo, he'd shave you with one hand while he was selling you beans with the other. He was industrious, skillful, shrewd, and right, an example worthy of imitation. Hugo.
Just one more thing. I want to recognize, so the Friends of Rocheport has a Barth Garden patio, and I know Linda Bumgarner's here with the Boone Community Trust, so they helped us get over the kind of the finish line to finish that. So we want to say thank you to the Boone Community Trust as well. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you very much. And thanks to everyone who's visiting this afternoon. If you're listening on the radio, thank you for tuning in, and if you're online, we appreciate that as well. We're broadcasting live this afternoon from the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society Museum. It's a wonderful afternoon out here in the, we'll call it the park, and join us, 101 Monteau Street in Rocheport. We'll be here for another hour. We've got some more Rocheport history coming up for you, but what we really have is Meredith Shaw and some of the Borrowed Band in just a moment here. So we're going to get some music and let them kind of dig in for 30 minutes or so and enjoy themselves. You guys relax, have some water or some wine or take a stroll or whatever. But anyway, great music in just a moment here from Meredith and the guys. And once again, I want to remind people that what is it, 5 o'clock? I got to do the FCC thing. All right, you are listening to KOPN Columbia, 89.5 FM. Sponsored by
This program is brought to you in part by housekeeping and maid service Tidy Keepers Express. Locally owned and operated and in business since 2013, Tidy Keepers Express can be found on the web at tidykeepersexpress.com, or you can call 573-303-0336.
KOPN recently lost a bunch of funding from the federal government, which could be a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, but that's for another conversation. Anyway, appreciate you all being here. Thanks to Kevin back in the studio, taking care of things back at the station, and thanks for the invitation to let KOPN be a part of this. It's awesome. Thank you. All right. Now, Meredith, and we've also have, I'll introduce your band real fast, but anyway, John Lamb playing bass over there, and Seth, what's Seth's last name?
Seth Colliner.
Oh, I should turn your mic on. See? All right. Yeah, okay. So Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band, okay?
Yes, my good friend Seth Colliner over here playing lead guitar, and my friend John Lamb, and we also have more people who, sometimes we have a drummer and we have a fiddle player, and we call them the Borrowed Band because I have to borrow them. They're also in other bands, so I have to borrow them from some of the best bands in Boone County. So, and sometimes I have other people. So I have another bass player who'll be playing with us. We're playing at Biscuit Fest on October 4th. And
That's, no, 2 weeks from today. Yeah.
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, all right.
And Seth actually has
That's with a whole bunch of other
bunch
bands,
of other
right?
bands. They'll be playing all day. It's on Friday and Saturday at Cooper's Landing and Sunday. And Seth actually has his own band, and he'll be playing at
Adventure Hat?
Adventure
Yes,
Hat. They'll
okay.
be playing at 3. We're playing at 5. So come on out and enjoy the whole weekend. Should be a gorgeous weekend by then.
Very cool.
So.
All right, well, make yourselves at home. Play some music for us, all right?
And for this one, let's see.
It's Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia.
Yes. So I got to tell y'all, I grew up in a town very much like this, but imagine if it wasn't quite this exuberant and enthusiastic and wonderful. I mean, it was a wonderful town. It was a wonderful place to be from, as Seth likes to say. So I grew up in a tiny farm town in northeast Missouri, and in a town of 300 people, I was a country kid, right? So I grew up outside of town on a 200-acre farm. The youngest of 8 children, I like to say the second oops in a large Catholic family. And so I wrote this song about my mom raising 8 kids out there on that farm. And she passed away in 2022 after a long bout with Alzheimer's. And so I was so glad I had written this song for her about 1.5 years before that happened. And as a songwriter, some things are too big to write after they happen. And I was so glad that I had written this before, because I don't think I could have written it after. So this is called Joy, Joy, Joy. In the fall of '49, she became a farmer's wife. So usually right here we sing a song about selling the farm, which happened in 2023, which, tore my guts out because it was a century farm, been in my family since before Missouri was a state. But I'll tell you what happens when you sell a family farm. In exchange for tearing your guts out, they give you money. Now, not as much money when you have 7 older siblings, if you don't, but still, enough, right? Yeah. And so, with that money, I got some money, and I bought a car, cash down, boom, Subaru Outback. It's got to last me basically for the rest of my life. Probably not going to happen because I've driven it a lot. Because the first thing I did was I bought it one day, and then I went and spent a month in Nashville. And down there, I bought a real fancy guitar that's also going to last me forever. We'll see. I did a whole lot of fun stuff, including taking what I thought was going to be a 3-day trip to Grand Lake, Colorado, to kayak Grand Lake, because I like to kayak. I've paddled out here. I've put in down here at the boat ramp and went through the mud to get out on the river, got out at Cooper's, got in at Cooper's, got out at Jeff City, all sorts of fun stuff. So I paddled to Grand Lake, and then I realized we didn't have a gig for 2 weeks. And I had time and money. And I was like, ooh. And people started messaging me on social media going, hey, Rocky Mountain National Forest is right there. You should definitely see that because it's 3 miles away. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I took the next 2 weeks and went and explored the West because I've never been anywhere, really, by myself. And I'm not really an outdoor girl. I camped in my Outback. And I had the best time ever. I highly recommend it. I went and saw the world's biggest hole in the ground. My dad would have loved that. He drove a bulldozer for a living. I was like, my dad would have loved this hole. It's got to be one of the greatest holes in the world. They call it the Grand Canyon. I paddled. I was like, I wonder if I can paddle the Grand Canyon. Not right away. So I paddled Glen Canyon, which is right there. It was 116 degrees that day. I went to I went there, I went to Arches, I went to Mesa Verde. By the end of my 10 days, I ended up in a hot tub with James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. It's a good story. Find me afterwards, I'll tell you all about it. He was there with his wife and kids, and then I did what I do after things like that. I came home and wrote a song about it. On my mind, lays ahead what's left behind. Worries come feeling spent, put the wheels on the pavement. I'm made of steel, but life's trying to break my will. Can't take one more hit, so I gotta get. Some days I gotta get out west, paddle that mountain water, get to the deserts where I can't get no hotter. Most times I'm just fine, dealing with this world's hits, but some days I gotta get. Life I've had, it's hard getting old, miss mom and dad. Too many wrong turns, too many hard lessons learned. Getting real tired of it, and that's why I gotta get. Some days I gotta get out west, paddle that mountain water. Get to the deserts where I can't get no hotter. Most just fine dealing with this world's hits, but some days I gotta get out of my bed, get out of my head, get out of my own way, get a new view, get on with it too. It's easy to say. So I gotta get out west, paddle that mountain water, get to the deserts where I can't get no hotter. Most times I'm just fine dealing with your shit, but some days I gotta get. I gotta get.
So the other thing that happens when you have to clean out a house and you're going back and cleaning out your mom's house and dealing with 7 siblings, or you start thinking about maybe dirt roads that you used to make out with boys on. I don't know if any of you had experiences like that when you were in high school, living in small town America.
Not here in Rocheport, no sir.
Not here in Rocheport, not here in Boone County, no sirree, Bob. But so I thought about that a little bit, about, ooh, I remember being there and there and there, and that old lake road and that old lake road, and ooh, we used to drive into that cornfield, and I was like, uh-oh, I gotta get in trouble. That is also the thing about small towns. You get in a lot of trouble real fast, even going back to visit. So I wrote a song about that. This one's called Stay. Yeah.
On touch my hair, realize we could never. 30 years is far too long to be writing old country songs about some high school boy who walked away. When you could have asked me, you never asked me, you never asked me to stay. I probably would have left anyway, but you never asked me to stay. You never asked me, you never asked me, you never asked me to stay.
Yeah. Close enough. Whew.
Awesome.
Keep going?
Keep going.
All right.
Maybe 3 more?
Yeah. Perfect. That works. Oh, I don't have big decks in here.
And remember, save one for the end of the show.
Yeah. Drove it like he stole it next.
Okay.
How you doing out there? We are Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band. We have a tip bucket up here if you're so inclined. If you're online, it's Meredith-Shaw72. If you're so inclined, but give to the nonprofits first. But also, we also be poor.
I'll tell you, as a band, we are definitely not profiting.
We are also not profiting. We are also very not profity. We have a song about that coming up also. Let's see. So this song is also a true story that I turned. Most of my songs are based in reality. This song is based on the true story of a friend who told me about his tractor getting stolen in North Boone County, and someone drove it to South Missouri. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw a love story in there and we're gonna rewrite it. You can find this on Spotify or wherever you happen to stream music. It's called Drove It Like He Stole It. I don't have to play on this one because it has a lot of words. So I'm gonna let the guys handle this one. So our story begins with Bobby still in the pen, 6 down, 2 years to go. Our tale is kind of funny. It started with his honey and Jimmy, who's his baby bro. Now Bobby had it all, an old dog, a used car, a fairly new double wide. But his redneck bliss would cause him to miss brother Jimmy and his honey's hive. Oh my! Revenge came fast, fury kicked his ass. Still Bobby would never attack her. Bet out in the rear what Jimmy held dear, baby brother's brand new tractor. Damn the 10th commandment, oh Bobby had to have it, preacher man would understand. So he cranked the cold steel, hands grabbed the wheel as he headed out across the land. Bobby drove, and he 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 drove, holding up traffic, oh man alive, throttle wide open at 25.
diesel engine, a whine, and he drove without a prayer or plan. This wasn't cheating, but his first smell of freedom, oh, the fumes made him feel like a man. But his love affair faded as the sheriff serenaded, oh, Bobby, with that siren sound. So he tore through the pasture, pushed the beast even faster with no signs of slowing down. And he drove, 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 and he drove. Holding up traffic, old man alive, throttle wide open, there's 25. Ain't breaking for nothing, going through gears, standing for something, showing the fears. This lazy town had never seen a person painted John Deere green. Gonna get caught, you know it. He drove it like he stole it. Not all heroes can win, and our tractor tail ends with Bobby running out of gas. The judge hit a smile, sent Bob away for a while, guilty of not going fast. But the legend of the man has grown way out of hand. What's truth, myth, or fantasy? We'll never fully know, but Bob was king of the road, a man with machinery. Holding up traffic, old man alive, throttle wide open at 25. Ain't breaking for nothing, going through gears, standing for something, showing the fears. This lazy town had never seen a person painted John Deere green. Gonna get caught, you know it. He drove it like he stole it. Drove it like he stole it. Drove it like he stole it. He drove it like he stole it. Woo!
You want to do big decks? I don't have one list. You can do big decks, right?
So on a gorgeous day like today, you want to be sitting outside, right? Maybe on a patio. Maybe on the Davenport. Me, I like to sit on a big old deck. Some decks are new and hard. Some decks are soft and old. We all know wood can shrink up when decks get extra cold, but I like a big deck. I like a real big deck. Find me the biggest deck in town and let me sit on down. City decks stay clean, country decks get dusty, but anytime that wood gets wet, it all smells kind of musty. Oh, but I like a big deck. I like a real big deck. Find me the biggest deck in town and let me sit on down. Take it for a walk, Seth. From crowded decks with too many friends and decks that are too slippery can be painful in the end. Oh, but I like a big deck. I like a real big deck. Find me the biggest deck in town and let me sit on down. Now I gotta tell you folks, never seen a deck too big, seen a few too small. And of course there are some women who don't like decks at all, but I like a big deck. I like a real big deck. Find me the biggest deck in town and let me sit on down. One more time, Seth.
satisfy. Others never do, but anytime you set on one, just enjoy the view. Oh, I like a big deck. I like a real big deck. Find me the biggest deck in town, and let me settle down. Find me the biggest deck in this old town. Oh, Rocheport, down by the river, and I need to sit on down.
We got, let's do one more relatively short.
Okay. Want to do just the tip?
All right, one more quick one from Meredith and the band, and then we'll, Ina and I will continue with our Rocheport business. All right, let's go.
So I told you we have to beg for tips. So this one is just about that. When we say just the tip, you all yell back just the tip, okay? When I started making music, I knew that I would be rolling in the dough, living in the lap of luxury. I booked my first gig and asked just how much I'd get paid. The owner laughed and pointed to that bucket on the stage. Just the tip, just the tip, just the tip, just the tip. Big ones going slow and little ones going quick. Since I started making music, man, oh, it's been quite a trip. Just slide it in there, darling bud, just the tip. Sometimes I play for chicken wings, even shots of fireball. There's a lot of county fairs on the way to Carnegie Hall. Making music keeps me young, and the answer's on my lips. I feel 16 again, 'cause I'm hustling for that tip. Just the tip, just the tip, just the tip. Big ones going slow, and little ones going quick. Since I started making music, man, oh, it's been quite a trip. Just slide it in there, darling bud, just the tip. One gig paid in exposure. I was new, so I said, all right. Then a flasher jumped up on stage in my set that night. I knew just what to do. Grabbed a knife from my boot real quick. I took a swing and barely got, you guessed it, just the tip. 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 Big ones going slow. And little ones going quick. Since I started making music, man, oh, it's been quite a trip. Just slide it in there, darling bud, just the tip.
Yes. All right, fantastic. Thank you, Meredith. Thanks, guys. We'll have one more from Meredith and the band before the end of the show here, okay? All right, thanks again. Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia, and Ina Linville.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So I just want to give some updates of projects for the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society. So we did the exterior of the building, so we're now in the fundraising part for the interior of the building, which probably hasn't been done since like mid-70s. So we're in the process of doing that. We were able to update the Barth Garden patio and pergola if you're in Central Street, which is kind of the...
Where is that? Pardon me.
The Barth Garden and patio.
And where is that exactly?
And that's on Central Street, which is right across from, which is the main street. Most towns call their street Main Street. We call ours Central Street.
Correct.
So, so it's on Central Street, next to another historic site that we own, which is the Marion Green building that Art Off the Trail is housed in. I do want to mention that going on, she's not on the board, but she might as well be a board member, is Gloria Gauss, and an artist, a recognized artist, organized a plein air event, Plein, which is French for plane. So it basically is artists come and they paint outdoors. So they're kind of down there. You see them down there that they're doing their thing and their artwork. So we want to recognize them. The other thing that we're doing is we're working with the Missouri Humanities Council to create a walking tour of historic sites and points of interest in Rocheport. So that's one of the things that we want to do for the Bicentennial of Rocheport. So that's going to be coming up, and we'll kind of keep you involved with that.
Cool.
The other thing I just really, really want to thank. So Mike Hagan is a neighbor of mine.
For many, many years.
Yes. And so he did this for his son's graduation. So there's his son and 4 other young men.
Yeah. I have 2 boys. My youngest just graduated from Hickman in May, and he and 4 of his best friends, they spent most of their childhood at our place, and they wanted to have a combined graduation party. So we did it at the house just across the way from Ina. And we decided we would do a live broadcast from there as well, and it turned out to be really fun. So.
Yeah. And so one of his, so Lucas is his son, but one of his friends is at Henry. So,
yes.
His parents.
Oh, yeah.
His parents own
Walt's Bicycle Shop down there on College there.
So we know these people in different spheres of our lives, and it's like, oh, I know you. So it was fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we want to thank Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band for letting us sort of hone in on your spotlight here.
This worked out perfect. Yeah, worked out great.
With that. And so the other thing that we just found out that we got a barn quilt that we're going to be putting up in town.
Fun.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Deb? Where's my wife? She loves barn quilts. She must be walking. She can't stay still for long.
I understand. So anyway, so that's sort of what we're doing in Rocheport, and we're really glad that you all came out.
Yes, very, very cool.
And
so thrilled to be part of this amazing little town of ours. It's just great.
I know. We live in the burbs.
Yeah.
So we don't
we're kind of off in the woods over there, but
in town. So Jane, would you want to come up and share a story? And then I'm going to turn it back over to Mike and let him wrap things up.
All right, let's do it. We're going to get one more story from Gene Bauman, who's told 2 fantastic ones. I'm excited to hear this third one here. But it's been a wonderful afternoon. Thanks to everyone for being a part of it. And Kevin back at the station says the band is sounding great. That's high praise, by the way. Again, thanks to everyone for making this happen, and I'm glad to do it. Gene, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
This one, The Fisherman, William Tompkins. The Friends of Rocheport Historical Society started recognizing people in 2018 with the establishment of the Rocheport Hall of Fame. And as I've looked more closely at those early residents, I've discovered candidates of my own Hall of People I wish I had known. This will introduce you to one of those. While not a community leader, he was one of the most remarkable citizens of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. You will hear him discussed even today as the fisherman. I became intrigued by several references to a rock he had carved at the base of the bluff containing the Katy Trail Tunnel. I learned the approximate location of the rock at the Diana Bend observation deck downstream from the tunnel. My son and I launched a search for the hidden stone covered by dirt and grass. We managed to find it and cleared it for viewing. Well, shortly thereafter, a rainstorm washed gravel over it again. We have uncovered it for viewing again, and I haven't seen it lately, but I hope it's still cleared. Well, to see it, you turn left just before entering the tunnel and take the boardwalk down to the deck. The rock is in the grass between the deck and the stairs up to the bluff. The beautiful engraving reads, W.P. Tompkins, Fisherman, April 22nd, 1892. Due to a lack of space, he had to split and stack his last name into 2 lines. This was not a rock he found someplace and just put there. It was growing rock. Of that rock, he was quoted in a newspaper story in 1911. "When I die, I will leave a monument greater than Washington's. See, on the rock there," and he pointed to the cliff beside his house, "I've engraved my name. That ivy wreath surrounding it took 3 days to carve. It takes patience to do these things." Well, while the rock is his memorial, it is not his grave marker. He died May 28, 1929, at age 76, and is buried in the Rocheport Cemetery. A sign of the community's love for him is a plastic fish placed on his tombstone, put there by a woman and her daughter several years ago. He continued with the kindly and cheerful smile that showed he knew of what he spoke. "The secret of happiness is lowly hand labor and patience and the river. The patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit." That is Scripture. My interest grew when I read in the 1911 story that Tompkins had read the Bible 3 more times in the past few months, and his record is now 18 times for reading the whole book, and at least 50 times for the books of Isaiah and John. William P. Tompkins moved with his family in 1860 to Old Franklin, a few miles upstream from Rocheport on the Missouri River. At the age of 12 years, he began his life on the water. "The river just caught me," he said in that 1911 interview, "and has held me ever since. I've been 45 years on the river. It is to me as cold waters to a thirsty soul." That is Scripture. When the MKT Railroad began to dig the tunnel in the early 1890s, he built a houseboat and moved just downstream from the construction site, seeing a great market supplying fish to the railway workers to eat. After 4 years of living entirely on the water, he pulled his houseboat up on land using a skiff for fishing. His early years were significantly different from the bulk of his time in Rocheport. As a regular saloon patron who was known to not care about anyone and did not mind making it known. His conversion took place when he attended an evangelistic service held by the Reverend Arthur Lindsay. That's when the Bible became his new best friend and only book in his library. His saloon days were history. "I never smoke or drink," he said. "Am in good health, and but for the knowledge of the wrongs and sorrows of others, am perfectly happy. I have as good a library as any man in Missouri. It contains 1 book, the Bible. I take 2 newspapers, a weekly and a semi-weekly, to keep up with current events." He was well informed on current events and enjoyed sharing his opinions with others. "Someone has shared with me an apparent marriage document with his name on it. Now, I suspect it is another person with the same name, as I have found several of these. His comments indicate he was not married. He told a reporter in an interview, "Marry young if you wish to marry at all. I'm getting old and fixed in my ways, and no woman could cook to please me as well as I can myself." A newspaper article in 1913 summarized Tompkins' life with his closing paragraph. "And the man is happy. Though toil has bent his back and 58 years have written deep wrinkles on his weathered face, he has a gentle smile for all. The young people of the village visit him. They walk beneath his trees. They sit on the benches of the lookout. Sometimes, too, a sly couple will take one of his skiffs for a row on the river. He enjoys it all. Students, also from the University of Missouri, drive the 14 miles to Rocheport just to talk to the fishermen. Quaintly and sincerely, he talks to them. He talks to them of current events, for he reads his newspapers carefully. He talks to them of the river, but most of all, he talks to them from his other friend, the Bible. He's a man that, being much alone, is not yet alone. His life is full."
Wow. All right. Lovely. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Gene.
I just want to, was remiss. So Rocheport has the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society. We have Rotary. We have the city, and we also have the Rocheport Area Merchants Association. So I think Diane just walked that way. So anyway, I just want to acknowledge, where's Diane? So anyway, they're busy running their businesses, so they were able to come a little late. One other thing that I want to mention, if you're hungry, come back to Rocheport on the last Saturday in October. We have our annual chili and ham and bean dinner. So, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, thanks again, Ina. Thanks again to the Rocheport, the Friends of Rocheport Historical Society. What a great thing you've got going here, Ina. I'm so glad that we hooked up to do it. So thanks again, everyone. Once again, Meredith Shaw and the Borrowed Band. We'll get one more from them before we say toodaloo, but congratulations to Rocheport and all of this, or all of you and the people that have been here. And, we're just part of a long line, and it's a privilege to be a part of it. So thanks again. And Joe, fantastic job on the mural, and everybody else who made all this stuff happen, okay? All right, Meredith Shaw. It is time for one more to wrap it up here. It's Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia. It's been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for doing it.
It has been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for having us, especially as a kid from a small town. This is wonderful. Also, as someone who's lived in the Columbia area for 35 years and who loves Rocheport, I really am glad that we were able to come out here and do this. So thank you for having us.
It worked out great.
Mike.
And, Meredith and the band, Meredith performs outstanding music on her own if she performs as a solo artist, but she's also with the band in many different forms. Today there's just a couple of the guys with her, but when she's got the full band, it's a rockin' good time. So keep your ears out and your eyes out and open for Meredith and or the band, and find her out and about social media one more time all night.
Meredith Shaw Music is usually what I'm under. So
okay, fantastic. All right, thanks again. You've been listening to Open Mic Radio. We'll say goodbye in a minute, but let's get one more from Meredith and the band.
So like I said, I draw from my real life, and I recently got divorced, and I find that it is a little harder. Woohoo! When I was in my 20s, boy, that was easy. It was easy to go out and find someone to dance with, or to go to dinner with, or anything. And in my 50s, things have changed a little bit. So I wrote a song about having to date at a later stage in life. It's called Men My Age. I go to Nashville and record, so all this stuff has happened for me. Like a lot of people have been making music maybe since they were in their teens and 20s. I just started doing this with a band like 3 years ago with the band. I started doing this at all like 6 years ago. Started writing music again. I had done it a little bit in college, put it down for about 20 years, 25 years to have kids and do all that. And so this is kind of a new chapter in my life as well. So now I go to Nashville and record music, and this is one of my new songs that'll be coming out. It's called Men My Age.
Weekend comes around, I'm on the prowl, time to find a man. First time in years, whiskey calmed my fears, ain't a looking for a one-night stand. Shallow dating pool, the water's extra cool, everything has changed. I used to bat my eyes, have guys on every side, but now it's really strange. Too old for the midnight age, too young for the ones in the grave, too young for the ones in the grave. Download a dating app, it's dudes in baseball caps. I even saw my best friend's ex. True story, and a guy I used to date back in '98. Swiped left and left and left. Guys on my page, one girl's at my age. Ain't enough Botox in the world. I'm staying single, don't need senior pictures.
having us, Mike.
Hey, fantastic. Thanks, Meredith. Thanks, John. Thanks, Seth. Fantastic. Meredith Shaw and the band, all right? All right, Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia. Love you guys. Thanks for coming around and hanging out this afternoon. If you're down here, if you listened, we appreciate all of you. We'll be back next Sunday, actually. I will not be on the air next Saturday, but I'll be broadcasting noon to 3 with a great band called Western Grip. Are you familiar with, do you know Billy Herring is his name? Yeah, that's his band. Also, have you ever performed, Meredith, with Ty Tombson? Yeah. God, that would be such a great combination, the two of you. So, anyway, thanks again to the gang here in Rocheport, Ina, all of the people who spoke this afternoon. I'm sorry if I forgot some of your names, but certainly the wonderful stories that we had. And anyway, it was just great. All right, thanks again. Why don't you give me a little strumming to get me out of here before I put on my closer? All right. We'll catch y'all next week. All right? Thanks. Yeah, stick around. Rosh Shimba and a reggae party coming up in just a few minutes. All right?
That was Open Mic